To order. It's 6 o'clock. I would like to have the adoption of the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions?
I'll move for the adoption of the agenda.
Seconder?
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. I'd like us all to pause to seek guidance, please. Okay, and now we're going to have a reading of the mission statement. To provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs by preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all. The next is the presentation from Jay Stone on the excessive noise in his area due to firewood operations. Could I have someone move for him to come?
So moved.
George is.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Jay, come right up and have a seat.
Well, that's the majority of what I wanted to discuss, but thanks for letting me air my what I want to. I was going to write something out, and I thought I'm going to wing it, so I think I can get it across to you. I want to stress, I have been self-employed 40 years of my life. It's probably the backbone of rural area economies, realistically. Small enterprises, self-employed people. That's it. I mean, most neighborhoods and places in the country are self-employed. Majority of us are. What I want to talk about, and I don't believe there's any, I know there's nothing here because I've talked to Alfred about this. I talked to him back in November, and there isn't anything that he could do about this problem. This probably occurs very, very minimal, but it occurs in any jurisdiction. I'm going to give you an example here. Back when I was a child, my parents owned the Bonnie Lass restaurant, Smith's Cove. You guys remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Blue house next to it was the house that when we were kids we grew up in until my mother started taking us to Florida. We used to play on the lot, low downhill side. It was all apple trees. Sometime down the road, and I haven't got a clue, Raymond Britton, and I'm going to stress this, I have no problem here. But this, all I'm doing is making a point, because this is important. Sometime during my lifetime, Raymond Britton bought that property, put up a garage. The garage turned into a repair shop, turned into a junkyard, and on and on and on. My parents would raise their eyes, I'd hear them complain, but nobody said anything and nobody talked to Raymond about it. That junkyard is on the entire westerly side of their property, on the entire northerly side, all the way up to where the stop sign goes now. It doesn't make any difference. It's not a problem to me, but this is an example where a small business explodes, gets large. In this county, there is no regulation whatsoever that I'm aware of for small businesses that outgrow their locations. And when I talk about outgrow their locations, they can be auto repair, they can be body shops, they could be kennels, they could be firewood operations. I'm not talking about the guy that goes in and cuts 20 cords a year, makes a little extra cash. I'm not talking about the guy that goes in and cuts his firewood. I'm not talking about things like that. I'm talking about operations that are full-time, every day of the year, 8 to 12 hours a day, holidays included except for Christmas, and when working conditions don't allow, they wouldn't do it, okay? I have an operation like that on my property, and you're going to say, not my property, I paced it off today. They start, give or take, a little bit, roughly 300 feet away from me. In a town, that's a long ways. We're wide open fields. Okay, there's sound carries, smells carry, okay? You're going to ask, why didn't I say something before? Okay? We bought our property 17 years ago. That was not there. Darren started a business probably 7 years ago. I could deal with it. It's all right, but it's expanded. He bought a wood processor. He got bigger. A couple of years ago, I talked to him. He was up to 200 cord a year. Logging trucks come in any time of the night, unloading wood. They work, like I say, 8, 12 hours a day. 3 years ago, they were operating at 5 o'clock in the morning. I made a point of going over and seeing them that night. Stressed, you can't do that. Everything was cool for a while, but the business escalates. This summer, they were working at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, I didn't go over and see them. I made a phone call to the police. Things kind of got a little nasty at that point. There's no talking things over. We're sick of it. We are absolutely sick and tired of having to, and there's no exaggeration, when the wind carries the right direction, diesel fumes, diesel exhaust carries into our yard. Was it last week? It's in my shop. Now, that's not cool. That's not cool. So basically, what I'm getting at is we need, for these types of things that explode, where you have a small business that all of a sudden gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, what happens if he decides he wants to do 1,000 cords a year? That's not, that is possible to do because you buy the right equipment. I don't want it. He's right across the road from me. He has a lot of land. If he was back behind his house in the back part of his property, it wouldn't be so bad. But I've got another neighbor that's down the road from me, and they're complaining about the noise from it. I mean, that shouldn't even be a bother to them. So I'm here asking you to possibly think about those businesses. Like I say, kennels, excessive, anything that causes excessive noise, smells, or pollution. That is constant. That is full-time, year-round, 7 days a week. I think enough is enough. We're tired of it. There's no working it out on that situation, and that's why I decided to come here, because I don't want to deal with that anymore.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Is he abiding by the times?
Is now.
Okay, he does go by the times.
He is now.
On weekends is later, and on holidays is later.
What time is it on a weekend?
What, is it 8 o'clock on the weekend, Linda? Or the
Yes, yeah.
It's 8 o'clock on weekends.
Before 8 in the morning.
No, you said in Sunday it's 9 o'clock.
On Sundays, 9?
Sunday.
Yeah, he's probably abiding by the rules on that. He probably is. But you got to understand, you're listening to damn chainsaws every day of the week. And you're listening to this harvester, this processor. It wasn't there when we bought our home. My point is when you get to a certain point, and it isn't 3 days, 5 days, a week. It's 7 days a week. Now, he has been slow for the past month. I don't know what's going on. I don't have a clue. But I know it's going to go ahead and it's going to increase. Now, he has a lot of land. He's right out there on the road. But, I mean, it's not just that. It's other places. There's a guy down the road selling firewood, and he's right in between two houses. Now, I don't know if he's cutting it there, but people have rights. We all pay taxes. You get to a point you get tired of that. So, I don't know.
It's something that we could take to our PAC and look at it, I would think. more so than council looking, wouldn't it be the PAC with our,
Well, it would be the development of a new land use bylaw in those areas, or a comprehensive land use bylaw. That would cover either all the areas of the municipality, but usually existing businesses are grandfathered.
How
Although
can it
they're
be
not allowed.
grandfathered when it was like, he's been doing it for, like 7
Well-
years ago? How could that be grandfathered when,
Well, there's no rule right now against what he's doing. So what he's doing now, when the bylaw comes into effect, and I don't know how you would measure expansion or not, like that, but he would not be allowed, if, say, for example, that was a use that wasn't permitted in the new bylaw or land use bylaw, he wouldn't be allowed to expand, but what his current existing business is, he would be allowed to keep that. That's with all land use bylaws, that's the way they work. It's grandfathered in after the fact, like the existing businesses would be grandfathered in.
Well, it's not-
If that was something that the council would make a decision on whether they wanted like a comprehensive land use plan to cover the whole municipal unit.
rare situations, but they would occur. There's situations like I just stated there with that junkyard. I mean, it's,
a junkyard?
no, I'm talking about the one I brought up now. I don't care
Oh.
about that anymore, but that happened, when you're right beside another house, I mean, that junkyard's 20 feet from their back door. So, I mean, these are things what I'm getting at. I mean, he could move this right across the road directly across from me, and now there's going to be a problem. So, but, if it was moved back off the road, if it was moved away, I'm sure he doesn't, his wife probably doesn't want to hear this, but I don't know.
Is there any Jimmy?
In our bylaw, even though you're allowed to operate during set hours, is there still not restrictions on the noise level during that time?
There's a decibel
Right.
level. It's lower at certain times of the day as well, like 7 in the morning, but I think it's like 55 decibels or 65. So one thing we could do is
We could-
send out, we have a
meter.
sound meter, and send Alfred out.
Probably it isn't going to probably be any big deal.
Yeah.
You're going to have
That's
people.
quite loud.
Yeah,
in order-
that's going to be, no, it's just an excessive constant there. I know in hunting season, I couldn't even hunt back there, because it's just, you're up above, and it just, way it carries, you hear it everywhere. Now, there's another aspect here, and I'm getting tired of that. It's the exhaust from the diesel tractors. I'm getting fed up with that one there. Now, that is definitely something that nobody should be dealing with. As I say, it's only when the wind is a certain direction, it's there. It's in your face. It's there. And if somebody's working for hours, that's not cool.
Hey, Jimmy?
A question would be, would that be something that we could go to the Department of Environment to inquire about because of the fumes?
I would think so.
That's got nothing to do with our noise bylaw, but there's got to be some restrictions on, like, air pollution.
We can certainly check with them.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of anything, but that doesn't mean it's not there.
Well, I'm thinking like when they had the issues with the pulp and paper mills with the smell and everything that came out of the effluent that they had to put scrubbers on and all that, where he's getting excessive amounts of diesel to the point where it's going into his buildings. I would think that we could inquire to the Department of Environment to find out whether there's anything that they could do in regards to that.
I would think that that's something there that is a possibility. I mean, if they could just move back to the end of their property,
Yeah.
it's a good remedy, but there's no talking, so that's a possibility. But yeah, it's just snowballed to a point that enough is enough. I'm tired of how it's grown and grown and grown, and that's not what I don't want it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a pain.
I'm just thinking of the ways that we can help, with the issue. And like we're restricted on what we can do,
Certainly.
but we can maybe put an inquiry into the Department of Environment on your behalf to see whether there's any recourse from that end.
What I would look into, and as I say, this is a rare occurrence, but it happens. It happens probably more than you think. When a business grows into a monster like that, and it affects other people around, they should have a right, because then when it becomes from a part-time, which it started as a part-time, and becomes a full-blown, full-time, all-year-round occupation, there should be, it's just like a vineyard. When Chris Hawes wanted to sell liquor at his vineyard, he had to have permission of the people around him. And if you're going to be that large, it's just kind of courtesy. There's lots of issues out there of things that are going on, and I know there's a lot of people mad, and I'm not getting into this one with vineyards, okay? I'm a friend with Jerry Shute, but that's 6 weeks out of the year. Can live with that one there. That noise is excessive. But that's 6 weeks out of the year, so that's not full time. What I'm talking about is year-round. But thank you.
Now, does anyone else have any questions? Marissa? No? George? Dave? Okay, Jimmy?
Well, I was just going to say that, the next step would be that council can look at seeing whether or not we want to pursue a municipal-wide zoning bylaw with regards to business. I don't know, that would be up to the PAC, it would be up to council to submit it to the PAC and to go from there, but I think we need to find out what existing bylaws are out there in the province, and if they actually meet the concerns that you're raising. I don't know if they do or they don't, but that's something that we could look at.
It's kind of like opening up a racetrack within a neighborhood, or just something that's just, there should be a setback.
Yeah, the biggest problem we face, Jay, is that in this municipality, and we've gone down this road before on other bylaws for other issues, and we did it with the manure-based farming a few years ago, and we spent 5 years on that and had 9 public meetings, and we ended up taking and just parking that because the public didn't want to see that go forward. And the thing is what we found at that time, and I'm not talking about that would happen under this case, but at that time, I think people, they just didn't want restrictions put on their property. They didn't want someone else to be able to do something on their property, but they didn't want you to tell them what they could do on theirs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's different though. That's only a time. That's only a very short time period there. Manure is something that's been done forever to enhance your fields.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it stinks, but
Well, what we were facing, just to give you an example, and I won't belabor this, but we had concerns come forward that the mink industry was growing, and they could put a farm right in a residential area, and there was no zoning in place to restrict that from happening. There still isn't.
Really?
There isn't, because the public didn't want us to go forward with this bylaw. So all I'm trying to say is, it's a matter of if we do go down the road to put a bylaw in place, we'll have to see what the appetite of the community is through the public meetings, whether they'll support council in going forward with that. That's all. That's what I was trying to get over to you. Because that's what we faced in the past. That doesn't mean that people won't be receptive to a bylaw, but I know in the past when council worked on a bylaw, when it came to zoning people's personal property, that they weren't supportive of having restrictions put on what they could or could not do. The only zoning we've been able to put forward on a municipal-wide level in the municipality was wind turbines.
Yeah.
so far.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time,
Yep.
and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, the answer would be move it back. But, yeah, I almost called Alfred up the other day, to have him come over if he was close, just to catch how strong the damn diesel exhaust was. I mean, I smell it in my shop. I'm wearing a respirator and take it off and all that dust and everything. God, I'm smelling that, so that's a bit much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
See you all.
See you later, Jay.
Bye.
The next is the council minutes of November the 23rd, 2015. Is there any errors or admissions?
I'll move it as is.
Is there a seconder?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Old business or business arising from the minutes? David?
No.
George? Maritza?
I have the welcome sign to Digby. Have you spoken with
Yes.
Excuse me.
And everything was fine. They granted us permission.
so it was people at the Annapolis
There
County
had been a
Council
couple,
that were?
there was a couple of complaints given to, and that it was brought forward.
Okay,
But he said where they had given us permission, it was fine.
good.
Jimmy, do you have any?
No.
Okay.
Pardon me?
New business. Everest Canadian Senior Curling Championships funding request. This is the one that Rob sent us, asking for you're up right up there, for $250.
I'll make a motion.
He's
that-
asking the town for also $250.
I'll make a motion in support of contributing $250 to the Canadian Senior Curling Championship funding request.
For the Taste of Digby.
I'll
Is there a
second
second? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Motion, contrary minded? Motion carries, sorry. Encounters with Canada program funding request. This is the two students from high school, I assume high school. And I would assume this would just go into our policy and be covered.
There is, one of the students listed is actually a resident of Annapolis County,
Oh,
and I had Pat contact them to let them know that they should maybe apply to the county of Annapolis, but one student, Jasmine Gidney, is from the municipality, so according to a youth policy, it would be $250. That
so
would go
we
to
will
that.
just have to write that we can only give to Jasmine.
I'll make a motion then that we give Jasmine Gidney $250 towards the Encounters with Canada program.
Is there a seconder?
Gladly.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded?
So is the other student in Digby, but Annapolis resident?
Attends the Digby School, but is a resident of Annapolis County.
This county?
And I just wanted to say, I don't know who Jasmine Gidney is, so she can't be in relation to me.
It's probably related. It's probably related to all of us, let's be honest.
Well, I just wanted to tell you, I don't know. Well, where I was a Gidney, I just wanted to get that out there. Next is the CAO's report, meeting reminders. January 26th, Digby Development Agency, that's tomorrow at 4. February 1st at 4:30 is bylaw and policy. February 8th, 4:30 is committee of the whole. Just to remind you, Maritza and Linda will not be there. We will be in Ottawa,
Which day was that?
The 8th.
February the 8th.
Okay.
So just be the U3. There is no meeting on February 15th because it's the Nova Scotia Heritage Day holiday. February 16th, though, is Flag Day at 2 p.m.
Where would that be held?
High school.
Would they have something like that down in Mali?
They had it there, they rotate.
They rotate around.
Remember, they had it that one year?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
rotated
They
around
rotate to all.
Okay, so it's
to the different high schools, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
February 17th, 9:30, the RCMP Resource Study presentation. Jimmy will be chairing that because I have a doctor's appointment in Halifax. February 22nd, at 6 p.m. is council. February 29th, 6 p.m. is joint council with the MP and MLA, and it's all council. Linda will be sending you an agenda. She has quite a lot on it. Actually, yeah,
Probably enough.
more than
You're saying.
enough, in my
Okay.
opinion.
Okay.
March
I can
7th,
add things. Is it too late for me to have something?
speak to Linda.
I got one thing.
Speak to Linda.
Just send me an email.
Okay.
Yeah. Input.
March 7th, 4:30, bylaw and policy. March 14th, 4:30, committee of the whole. March 21st, bylaw and policy. March 28th, David, you are to be to that meeting. It's Easter Monday.
Okay, well, I won't miss it.
You're the only one there.
Good. That's the kind of meeting I like.
And Tuesday, March 29th, because Monday is the holiday, we will be having council on the Tuesday. Any questions or concerns on that? The next is update on action items. If anyone have any questions or concerns to Linda?
I was thinking, would it be possible, or would you agree to having a day or a part of a day set aside to do budget instead of trying to, like, in the evening, people don't like spending, you're here a couple hours and you get fidgety, you want to get home or whatever. What about if we did it for like half a day or part of a day?
It would take more than that. You're going to take
More for you.
you're still going to take 2 or 3 meetings, whether it's a half a
Oh,
day.
okay, but like myself, I'd be willing to spend half a day to, rather than, but if not, then we'll just do it in the evening.
Jimmy?
I think this year, until we're gonna later in the agenda here, look at purchasing something to get the community involvement in our budget process, so I don't know how that's gonna unfold, but, and like the warden stated, we need more than one meeting to do this, so
Oh, yeah.
even if you took a half a day, even if you did take a half a day, that's still not gonna finish it.
No, but I was just thinking, instead of trying to cram it into some evenings with, you got other things, like doing bylaw and policy.
We usually just do budget with budget.
Usually when we're doing budget, we dedicate the bylaw and policy
Okay.
all.
No, I just remember last year, one night, we said, well, let's stay and we'll go through it, and, we get there like 9 o'clock or whatever, and it just seems like, a rush
Well, we
put on
have
it
nights like
sometimes.
that we go to 9.
No, but it just
you know,
seems like sometimes it's a rush,
Always
and,
goes
you
on.
folks have been here all day, and you want to spend another 3 or 4 hours, I'm sure.
Linda loves that.
No, it's just a thought.
Doesn't-
that
No,
it-
it's whatever
Yeah.
council's wish. I mean, we usually do it in part, in
The other
different
thing-
days, because some things aren't ready in time for other things, so.
The other
but-
thing is, we do have staff that work, and they have to look at their business as well.
I'd be willing to start, say, at 3 o'clock instead of 4:30, if that helped,
I can do that too.
but
I
I
don't
don't
mind
mind
that.
that.
I mean,
Wonder
it doesn't matter to me, I'll be honest, since I am foot loose and fancy free, but I also know what it's like to work, and as I said, I know that Jimmy has.
No, I guess what would be, Jimmy would be, if he was.
So, I mean, if we want to
Free
try
up some
something
time.
a couple times at 3, know that, it is several meetings, it's not,
I'm open to anything that's good with other side.
Okay. Fair enough, that's a good point, George. Thank you for bringing that up. Update on capital projects. Any questions or concerns? Update on special projects or
Oh.
initiatives.
Yeah, well, sorry.
David?
The committee of the whole action item for January 2016. With internet service and wherever I've been trying to think of a few different options, I'll be bringing them forward to council. Try to see if it'll, get over the hurdle, the MGA and all that sort of thing. There is a couple options. I just have to check them out in regards to Little River. And of course, there's a lot of places like that that are marginal to the business case. And so, like as one of my constituents said, I pay $2,000 a year in taxes and my house is unsellable. And that's accurate. That's an accurate way to look at it with modern age. So it's, and it's not just here. It's like Centerville. There's a lot of spots like that. And I just want to sort of throw this out. We talk about economic development in regards to the green energy. I think that we could be the greenest and most connected, and there is possible options and I hope to be able to come forward with something that will be workable with everybody. Or those areas like Little River that are throughout I know that everybody's got those spots, so maybe we can come up with a plan. I'm trying to anyway, and I'll think, see, and you guys are also, I'm sure, be able to de-wrinkle it a bit for me.
And, all right, so was there any updates on special, that was sort of under the special projects maybe, initiatives? Decision direction request, I didn't see any. So next is the approval of November 2015 payables of $441,105.73. And I would think we would do them in two. So for the first one is November. Is there anyone to move for the approval?
Where is it here?
I'll move the November payables.
Is there a seconder?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the December 2015 payables of $407,085.20.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, motion carried. Income and expense report, November 2015 and December 2015. Any questions or concerns? Okay. Next is the correspondence. The town of Digby were not able, as you saw, come in with the apple blossom. Confit was approved, the Islands Consolidated School, thank you, and Taylor Barnaby, thank you. Any questions or anything on the
Would you like Taylor to come
correspondence?
sometime and discuss her, because this is the same thing that we just sent those other
Yes.
ones, and I think it's an exceptional.
She sent a letter, didn't she?
She also said that she'd be willing to come and give a presentation to
I
council
would, I would love it.
at our pleasure.
She was very excited about
Would it-
meeting Justin.
Would it be better for her on a committee of the whole or a council?
How about I
and-
give her a call?
And I would like that dealt with through whatever, but you have to email Linda so she knows what's going on.
Yeah,
Ms.
my,
Frazier.
yes.
Okay.
Taylor Barnaby.
Because it's between her and Pat, but goes on, because we can't have,
One of
Other
the
presentations.
parts of them going is that they're supposed to go about the community and talk about what happened.
so it would, if for it to be on YouTube or, on our web, it would be better on a council night.
Okay. I'm
They're
thinking
both-
that. I'll
they're
suggest
both.
that.
On the web.
Oh, are they both? Committee of the whole thing? Oh, okay.
Oh.
I only looked at
Just
the
kidding,
council.
just kidding, just kidding.
That's scary. Okay, so either one.
Yeah.
Now, the next is the standing committees. Bylaw and policy recommendations. Number one, that the council engage with Citizen Budget to develop a customized online budget simulator for citizen engagement. Is there a mover for this?
So moved.
Is there a seconder for this?
Seconded.
Any comments?
I think this is a really good, a good step towards letting the community know some of the details that go into the budget processes. There's a lot of good things there.
I think it's one of the best things helping us with budget engagement, whether it be the budget or anything else. I see this as a big picture item. I will thank the municipality staff for all the work they've done on getting it together.
Just a reminder, do you have any ideas on some of the things you'd like to see in that budget in terms of questions or topics? Please email them to Jeff as soon as you can.
Decisions, Sam.
I already have about 3 for you. I'll email them out. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried. Number 2, to approve first reading of the Property Assessed Clean Energy Program PACE bylaw.
I'll move that.
Is there a seconder?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Next, number 3, to amend the council travel and remuneration policy to allow a $3,000 increase to the deputy warden annual salary
Beginning next term.
Yeah, I was
beginning
going to
next
say, it
term.
should say that.
Yeah.
I'll move that.
Is there a second, sir?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded, motion carried. Next, number 4, the approval of the temporary borrowing resolution file number 15/16-01 for $500,000 for the purpose of purchasing a 50 kW wind turbine.
I'll move that.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded, motion carried. Number 5, the approval of the temporary borrowing resolution file number 15/1602 for $690,000 for the purchase of purchasing a 800 kW wind turbine.
I'll move that.
No, sorry. I'll second.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded,
Nay.
motion carried. Committee of the Whole recommendations: to appoint Counselor Tudor as a municipal representative on the CHA2 working group.
I'll move that.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded, motion carried. To support the request from the Epilepsy Awareness Initiative and wear the purple ribbons the month of March 2016.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded, motion carried. The other thing you remember, they have requested at our council for us to take one picture and send it to them as well. We're wearing our ribbons. So, I want that picture, and it will be put on their website page. They have told me there has been 16 municipalities so far that is going to be doing this, which I think is pretty good for,
I find it strange that they're using purple.
they've always used purple. Epilepsy has always used purple.
The other one stole that idea from them. December.
Probably, but I can't say that either way. They told me when I was talking to them that they've always used purple. I asked the question. That the municipality of Digby enter into a 10-year loan agreement with the Tiverton Volunteer Fire Department for a $40,000 loan to cover costs of firefighting equipment in accordance to the non-municipal borrowing policy number 2007.
So moved.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded, motion carried. Number 4, that the municipality of Digby enter into the initiative concerning community energy sustainability and the transition of Nova Scotia municipalities to a sustainable future, and have the warden sign the collective request on behalf of council.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded, motion carried. Number 5, that the CAO allocate Robert Hersey to work with the tourism sector in regards to the promotion of the community at Saltscapes.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, motion carried. Number 6, to send a letter of support for the provincial active transportation policy framework.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded, motion carried. That the municipal council allow Conway Workshop to lease the land on Shreve Street on a year-to-year basis for the storage of wood fiber as pending that the town of Digby agree to the same usage and conditions. And I'm still calling a conflict of interest, and I am not voting. Jimmy, would you call that?
Okay. Asking for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Do I have a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Thank you.
And the town of Digby has agreed as well, so
Oh, good.
we're in the process of developing the lease.
Number 8, that the table for 8 be purchased for the Southwest African Heritage Dinner Gala in February at the cost of $160.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
What is the date for that?
It is February,
Sorry,
27th,
27th? Okay.
at the Legion at 6:30.
Digby Legion?
yes. Digby Legion.
Do we have
Tickets
to-
will be here.
Okay.
We're inviting Phil. And we will invite Phil. Okay, to look at changes for the January, February, March, and April King's Transit winter schedule, we have the last run at 8 p.m. for 6 days per week.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. To the purchase of for the purchase of the E48 Enterprise 800 kW wind turbine from RESL for the purchase price of $600,000 plus migrating costs pending a blade inspection.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded?
Nay.
Motion carried. That the warden and CAO be authorized to sign the letter of intent with the Nova Scotia Department of Natural Resources for the purchase of approximately 5.13 hectares of crown land in North Range, known as former DNR property, for $1,000.
So moved.
Second?
I can do.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. We have been busy, guys.
Well, I
I know,
guess.
huh?
It's
With no meeting,
surprising.
with no meeting in November, or December,
Yeah.
no council
Yeah.
meeting.
Linda,
Yes, I
did
missed
Terry
it.
get the inspection done yet, do you know?
Yeah.
Have they done that?
I haven't heard.
I don't know.
Maybe the whole, I missed that one. And I missed
Okay,
that.
the next is the advisory committee's reports, updates. Digby Source Water Protection Advisory Committee. Counselor Adams.
We haven't met since the last meeting, and has there been any date? Because I haven't seen anything.
No.
No. Okay.
Not that I've heard, but
No.
the town has just appointed their interim director of public works.
Oh,
So I
funny.
would expect that in the near future, there will
Yeah.
be a meeting because we are kind of,
Behind.
yes.
And I met him today. He came over and introduced himself. Heritage Advisory Committee, Warden Gregory, Counselor Adams.
No, we haven't met.
Planning Advisory Committee, Warden Gregory, Counselor Adams, and Tudor. We do not have an upcoming meeting as of yet. We're waiting back for the minister, aren't we? For approval? Or was that approved?
No, that's all approved. The last work that you were doing to the update of
What was the Conway?
the water.
I mean, the water.
watershed has been approved.
Oh, it was approved. Okay.
So there's, the AC right now has
No mandate.
that they're working on.
Maybe after tonight.
So we're going to soon have some things to work on. Yeah, there is. I'll bring them forward. Joint RCMP Advisory Board, Warden Gregory, Counselor Adams. That meeting was canceled due to a storm, because nobody wanted to vote in it. I'm so shocked. We are looking at March 9th to be the next meeting.
That's to be confirmed, though.
Yep.
Remo Advisory Committee, Warden Gregory, Deputy Warden McAlpine.
There hasn't been a meeting, but I will state that Don LeBong, he continues to give us the updates on the weather, which I think is great.
Yes. Western Regional Housing Authority, Richard Fitzgerald. Okay. Regional Joint Committees, Canada Legacy Society, Warden Gregory. The Premier has met with the Federal Heritage Minister. We are waiting to hear back from them. John Ferguson has been in contact with the office, and he will let me know. The meeting is planned on being in Digby within the next couple of weeks, but we don't have a confirmed date because we needed everything in place. We're also waiting to hear if we've been accepted. Thank you. Digby and Area Affordable and Supporting Housing Group, Counselor Tudor, December 2015 mapping process.
That was Maritza went for me.
I attended that meeting because he was unable to.
Thanks again, Maritza, I really appreciate it, especially at short notice.
I'm not sure if, was the minutes there from that meeting? No. Would you ask whoever it is to send the minutes, because I didn't know who to ask, so.
I will on Thursday.
They're in the process of their mapping
Wasn't there a
process.
meeting in January?
Oh,
If there was, that was when my computer was broken.
okay, I went to the
I was
December.
out of the loop for a little while, but I got my instant email back hooked up, because the way they did it, I can't get stuff that happened before go hooked up. Can't go back 2 weeks. I imagine I'm making a couple apologies when I get my computer back for that.
So, and there is one coming up in February.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I continue now?
Yes, I apologize.
No, it's not your fault. It was a very interesting meeting. I think they're a committee that sure has a lot on their plate, but they seem to be moving forward. And they're looking at options for affordable housing between the convent and either building their own, and they have, hopefully going to have a study done to see the feasibility of both projects, the renovation project or starting from scratch. They're raising money. Sister Bonnie has raised quite a bit of money already for purchase of some property if they want to buy. She's quite the go-getter.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, so it was a very interesting meeting. I enjoyed it. Anytime you don't go, I can go,
It's fun.
hopefully.
But that's good to know, and I really appreciate it. So
Rock and roll.
perhaps we could ask council to put Counselor Adams as the alternate on that.
No problem.
Did I have a mover and a seconder?
So moved.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, one more thing. When we had them speak at, was it
We need to vote.
the workshop
We're in the
that we
middle.
went to in Berwick?
We have the motions on
Oh,
the table.
sorry.
We're supposed to vote.
Sorry. So I said all in favor. Now contrary minded? Motion carried.
They
Sorry.
spoke at that workshop that we went in Berwick. Okay, and after that, I put them together with Betty from UNSM, suggesting that they do a workshop at UNSM because they've got a lot of good ideas. They're excellent, speakers and everything like that. And nothing has come out of it. And I had spoke to Betty again at the fall UNSM asking why there wasn't a follow-up with that group, that they should come and speak. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's an idea for a spring workshop, but I just thought that there's lots of municipalities that are in the same boat looking for affordable housing for their citizens. So it was a good workshop, I thought, that would go over well. But I don't know what's going on there. So just wanted to bring that up.
So David, at the meeting, actually, maybe you should go to the meeting in February with David as well, just to let them know you're the alternate, get your email and stuff on there.
9:30.
When is it?
I haven't got the one for next month. The email. It's usually somewhere around the 6th or the 9th. I'll find it for you.
I can't go if it's that week of the 8th.
Yeah,
We'll be
I'll let
away.
you know when I pick my computer up Thursday.
Yeah, we'll be away.
But, I'm just trying to think of,
Yep.
so that they know. Next is the Digby Annapolis Development Corporation Deputy Warden McAlpine, Counselor Tudor.
There hasn't been a meeting since last council.
Digby Area Learning Association, Counselor Manzer. October 2015 minutes. DCEC November 2015 report, Executive Director November 2015 report, Burning Grove November 2015 report, AGM Executive Director November 2015 report, AGM Chair November 2015 report, and AGM November 2014 minutes.
And there hasn't been a meeting during, Chris, during December, there wasn't a meeting, and this month's meeting is Wednesday, so
Okay.
there hasn't been anything since then.
The next is the Digby Area Recreation Commission, Warden Gregory, Counselor Manzer. You have the November 2015 minutes, the December 2015 reports, the January 2015 AGM minutes, the December 2015 minutes, and January 2016 reports. I will say that it's moving ahead for the senior curling very well. They're looking at streaming. We know we have one sheet, but they're looking at more, so they're in the process of working on that. They're very pleased with the two curlers that are coming, a man and a woman.
Oh,
Furby,
Randy
Furby
Furby
and
and
yes,
Jennifer Jones.
Jones.
Yes, one's silver and one's gold.
Jones of Gold, I guess.
Furby was gold.
Furby's gold.
Furby's gold. The male's gold. And then also,
The men are usually the better.
oh, don't
No.
push it. And also, there's another person coming that is the husband of Jennifer.
Jones, yeah, that.
Brad, someone, I can't think of
Curling
his name.
enthusiast.
Anyway, he's another curler.
Colleen Jones'
Hot shot,
husband?
yeah.
Jennifer Jones. Jennifer Jones, that's right.
Yes, Jennifer Jones' husband. I also, nice to put stuff out in the air, but I asked Dr. Westby if since he has lots of spare time, if he'd like to help, and yes, he would.
Yeah, he's a curler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was nice to hear.
Try this.
The other thing you saw with our reports, we are still working at the pool where we have a leak, and the child's pool wading pool was closed all this year. We are looking at what can be done and the cost. So that will be coming forward.
No splash pad.
Pardon?
No splash pad.
No splash pad, no splash pad.
Couple
Can't
hundred
afford
thousand.
it.
So it was really expensive, like way over what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Couple 100,000.
Well, at least 150, 160, maybe 200,000.
Yeah.
for
Put in a splash pad?
Yeah.
Splash pad, right.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's why we're not doing it.
So we just
Good.
decided not to, it was just way out of kilter what we thought anyway.
And the next is the Digby Area Tourism Association, Councilor Manzer, October 2015 minutes.
Yes, they had a meeting last week, which I wasn't able to attend because I'd be in the valley for my wife's eye surgery, but I will get the minutes from the previous meeting, which I think was in November. Didn't have anything on Christmas, so I will get the minutes and send them in for that.
Do you want to mention who the new chair is?
I don't know, I wasn't at the meeting, I don't know.
Greg Turner.
Oh,
Is he
Greg
the-
had said he didn't want to be the chair.
Yeah, I thought he was interim.
Well,
He was
okay.
vice chair.
He's interim.
He's still interim chair then.
Okay,
Sorry.
he's vice chair, well, yeah.
Well, I was just speaking to him outside tonight.
I thought maybe they'd elected him as chair last week or something.
Well, I just assumed the way he spoke that he was the chair, but I guess he's
Oh,
still
he's acting
acting.
anyway.
Yeah.
He's acting.
That's full. He has a lot to do.
Oh, yeah, for sure,
Better him than me.
yeah.
Digby Development Agency, Warden Gregory, Deputy Warden McAlpine, you have your Nova Scotia Marine Renewable legislation.
We meet tomorrow. We haven't met since last council.
Digby Harbor Association, you have the October minutes, the November minutes. We did not have a January meeting, we're not having a January meeting, so the December minutes won't be available, though the wharf is running around 76 boats up or down, so we're at full capacity all the time. They have been looking at some developments that we could improve the wharf, and we're looking into that now. But there has been no meeting coming up. Any questions on the Digby Harbor? Okay. The next is the Digby Library Committee, Deputy Warden McAlpine.
There's been no meeting for the Digby Library Committee.
The Digby Municipal Fire Association, Councilor Tudor.
No meetings since the last one.
Highway 101 Task Force, Warden Gregory, Councilor Adams. There is an upcoming meeting,
March 3rd.
March 3rd. The next is King's Transit Authority, Warden Gregory, September 25th, report to the board, October 2015 minutes, October 2015 newsletter, November 2015 newsletter. There was no meeting in December, and our meeting is going to be on Wednesday of this month.
This week, you mean?
Wednesday this month.
Of this week. Yeah. I have been in contact with Stephen over various things. Like we are running over 825 clicks a day and all that type of thing. So, and why so much getting stuff done and how quick the oil changes are happening and that type of thing.
We must be noticing quite a change, though, in our budget for the cost of fuel, are we not? Because of diesel?
Yes, we are getting a really good price.
Yeah. So it must be saving us quite a bit of money
Yes, I would
compared to
think.
what we would have budgeted for.
Yes, we're way below budget.
Okay.
Low budget.
They'll have a big party.
No, we're not having a party on it.
Gold-plated hats for everyone.
Open Spaces, Councilor Manzer and Tudor.
We had, the last meeting, we had one since the last. Freeport Development Association, we granted them $1,000 for their day-to-day needs, whatever they need, and the Dean Air property is we're still waiting for final notification on that, and then we'll probably have a meeting and discuss some of the stuff tied into that. We haven't had a meeting for a month or so.
Okay. Senior Safety Committee, Counselor Tudor, Deputy Warden McAlpine.
They had that meeting on the same day that I had another meeting in Wolfville pertaining to the Wrens, so I wasn't able to attend, but I believe Councilor Tudor was.
Well, for big news, we recently, I can speak with this, right?
Yeah.
We came to we got our money from the province. There was some concern about whether or not we would get the full amount, and we did.
$20,000.
Yeah, 20 grand. So that was a big relief for everybody. I was talking to Don a little bit about a couple days ago.
So what's been going on with the Senior Safety Committee? Like, what's Don been doing?
I wasn't at the meeting.
Yeah, just pretty much there was concern about whether that money was going to come in regards to the budget. And there was some paperwork that might have gotten a little bit behind, but they're going to be catching up on. It was sort of came by surprise.
It's nice when we get to see those reports, because usually in the minutes, the attachment is the report of what she's
Okay.
doing.
The minutes not come?
Not here, no.
Okay, I'll contact from the minutes.
States here that we got the October minutes, but we haven't got the minutes from the last meeting, but they'd have to be approved, wouldn't they, before you get them?
Yes, yeah.
So you wouldn't have them yet.
W-
You've got
Senior
the-
Safety Committee?
Senior Safety, we
didn't
don't
get
have
any.
minutes.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking
Yeah.
at Tideview.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We haven't had Senior Safety minutes in a while.
Okay, I'll follow up on that.
We get them for the last while. I'm often asked what she's doing, and I know the RCMP are really pleased with her. I know we're pleased with her, but
Well,
it's better if I can.
specifics, various individuals with everything from serious peak problems to dementia. I don't want to go into too much.
No, but that's why
Yeah,
it's easier. to get
and
the
her, I use her as a resource as well. I'll pop into the police station and see how people are doing and stuff like that. She's, just sort of continuing on with the work that needs to be done in that area. Very similar, quite often, our big concerns are whether or not we're going to get our money from the province and how the car is going to, how much longer the car is going to last, that sort of thing. But she tends to keep it, keep a move on progress going and keeping up on the various responsibilities she has in regards to filling out forms and stuff like that.
Okay. Shared Services Committee, Deputy Warden McAlpine, Councilors Adams and Tudor, the June 2015 minutes are here.
Yeah, there hasn't been a meeting since the last council meeting. Or wait a minute, back in November 25th was the last meeting.
So those minutes won't, until we have another meeting
Right.
and
Yeah, they're
approve.
not.
Yeah.
Okay. Transport Declare, Councilor Manzer.
They haven't had a meeting for a couple of months, but they have one tomorrow, so
Okay. Tyview Terrace, Councilor Manzer, October 2015 minutes.
those October minutes, we didn't have a meeting December, during Christmas. And again, we have our meeting Wednesday, which will get the November minutes.
Okay.
Everything's up to date.
Nothing important you need to
No.
tell us? Okay. Upper Clemens Park Society, Councilor Adams.
We met, we met on Thursday. Hadn't met since October because Gino had some surgery in November. We don't usually meet in December, so we had a meeting in January. We had the lady who's in charge of Upper Clemens Park marketing come and do a presentation. They were well into promoting Upper Clemens Park and the different areas that they do. There's some new ideas which I think are going to go over really well. They have spent some of the money from the OCOA funding that they got. The big project that's coming up that they had to wait until spring is the liner and repairing the Flume ride. And also this year is the big year for inspection for the roller coaster ride, which means they come from, I think from the States, it's a big firm, and they take it all apart and they take pictures of everything, every car and everything that's there. They're also taking the Ferris wheel apart. It needs some repair. And while they have that apart, they're going to paint it, other than white, they want to put some bright colors on it. So that gives them an opportunity while they've got the cars down on the ground. The campground that they're putting up across the road is well on its way. The washrooms are just about finished. The sites are going to be ready, and they're hoping to open up July 1st. So that would be good. There's going to be 45 sites.
It will also be good, because they're open during Wharf Rat Rally.
Yes,
And
that's
that
right.
will give extra camping sites to people.
And they're also having, Jonathan might know more about this, is it Mud, Sweat, and Tears? Yeah, they're having a run. It's like an obstacle run through the
Oh, I
mud.
thought it was a band.
No, it's a run through the, it's an obstacle course through the mud. It's, I think, a 10-kilometer, and they come in.
10 kilometer?
I think so. They coming.
no.
I have to look again in my in my minutes. They,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they're the. Pardon? No. You know, so anyway, they're pretty excited about that because they're coming in from all over the Maritimes for that. So, and
That'd be great.
I have to go back into my. I don't think I wrote that one down. No, can't. I'd have to go back. The other thing was the Shriners have the bus that the Shriners said that we could use is now on the property and being fixed up and repaired, and they'll be used in parades and perhaps going to Bay Ferries when they come in and picking up passengers and taking them to the park. And the Shriners are becoming a very important partner for the park. They've also have agreed to put up a fountain. So when you come into the entranceway in the park where the sort of that restaurant, is, there's quite an empty space sort of there.
Yeah.
They're going to put a fountain. And they'll do all the work, pay for the foundation. They've got a sculptor doing a boy and a girl sculpture for the top of it, and they will take care of maintenance and all that. The only thing, that the stipulation was that if anybody puts pennies and nickels and dimes, whatever, into the fountain, that money belongs to the Shriners because they're going to use it for their hospital.
Yes.
So I thought it was a really
That's reasonable.
very good partnership, very reasonable, very positive.
I hope that eventually you're going to put some PR on that.
Oh, I'm sure there will be. Oh, and the other thing they're doing, so they started this month with having the lady from the marketing department. They're going to have the different managers come in and speak on their areas on a rotating basis like we used to do with DALA. Because they used to have the ones from the different organizations come in. So that'll be a good thing as well. And they did Gino's up for an assessment report, and we had a little discussion around that and everything like that. But I think Gino's been a real shot in the arm for them. He's got lots of good ideas. He's very, very good about saving money, and that's a positive. But he's got lots of new ideas, and he's into computers, so that's a plus as well. So it was a good meeting. Long, but good meeting.
Sounds it.
Rich,
Yes.
the camping site, is that 40 just like tenting sites or trailers?
Yeah,
or-
it's not going to be full service.
Not for-
They'll have washrooms and showers,
Yeah.
and
Mostly
that's
camp-
about it.
like
It's like a
tenting sites.
tenting, yeah. Yeah, they can't get into that. They
Yeah.
don't have the money to kind of be full service.
But that's
Oh,
the
and
kind of
the-
place that I like, because that's what I like to do is tent.
Yeah, and the tower, the jump-off tower that they set up, Cyril Lunny from ATV's coming down just before the opening of the season. He's going to jump off it. It's going to be good PR for the park to put that out there and have him coming.
Make
and
sure you
everything.
have double jackets.
So there'll be a lot
And
more.
will he be tall enough?
Yeah, there's a lot more PR around the tower now that it's set up, because last year it was late getting set up, so they
I
didn't,
just wanted to make sure.
weren't able to, do as much PR on it because they weren't sure when it was going to be up and running.
He'll be good. I like the way he acts.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm not tall enough, I didn't know if he was. The next is Waste Check, Warden Gregory, Deputy Warden McAlpine.
There hasn't been a board meeting. There's one scheduled for February, and it's going to be a conference call meeting. But there was a HHW summit on the 14th. Did you attend that?
No.
I didn't either. The weather was bad, and I didn't go to it. But Household Hazardous Waste Summit in Halifax. But I've asked for the slide pack for a presentation, so if I get anything, I'll bring it back to council.
Western Counties Regional Library Deputy Warden McAlpine, October 2015 board minutes.
Yeah, we've had a meeting, it was back early December. Guess, and we've got another meeting scheduled for the first part of February. And also, I attended a session in Halifax pertaining to the funding formula that is being proposed for the library boards across the province. That's the first time we were given the information on this funding formula, and it's not favorable for our region based on the way they've come about. And so we've scheduled to have a session and have the person from the province come down and talk to the board, which is going to take place, like I say, in the first part of February. I don't know what is going to come out of it. I just know that even though we're not impacted too severely, the funding formula, the way it's set up, really impacts one of the regions dramatically, and there's no way that they could survive or they could operate with the cuts that they would see. So there's something's got to be done with the formula now. What that's going to be, I don't know yet, but that's still being worked on. Because the impact on Cape Breton was probably, when it all said and done, it was over $400,000. Now that's too big of a hit for any district to take. And our impact is that we're going to lose the Acadian grant, which is $100,000. The way they rescheduled it, the formula. But then there's we're not going to lose $100,000 when it's all worked out through everything else. But they've dropped the Acadia grant monies in the proposed formula. I want to say it's proposed because it hasn't been ratified yet by the government. So we're making our concerns known to them and waiting to find out how that meeting goes with down in Yarmouth in February. And from there, we'll go next steps, whether we have to talk to the MLAs about this because of the impacts. I don't feel that we should be negatively impacted because our population's declining and we're still trying to provide a core service to the community. And somehow we've got to get that message out there that we just can't afford to take any more hits.
Yeah, we can't.
Our library board has really cut it down to the point where through attrition, through retirements, we haven't filled positions, and there's been a lot of changes made to try to save money, and you just can't keep cutting because any more cutting is going to mean cutting hours and maybe even cutting branches.
In other words, you're cutting off your hand to spite your face.
Yeah, and you just can't operate like that. So from a library point of view, that's been the main thing that we've been dealing with. And
Is there any winners in this?
oh yeah, there's a lot of winners.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Halifax.
Well, the problem is they've taken the funding formula and added no new money to it and just shook it up. So there were winners and losers before, and there's going to be winners and losers now, but it's just changed who the winners and losers are. So it doesn't make sense. Like, I think you got to provide a certain amount of money
It's core
for core dollars, and so somehow we've got to get that message across that they have to do that. And I believe that what they've done is they've looked at some of the units that have maybe a surplus of funds. Like our library board's got a capital reserve, and so is Cape Breton. And so I think we're being penalized because that money's there. And so anyway, we'll wait and see how it unfolds. But
Who's the Minister of Libraries, or Tony Ince?
Tony Ince, yeah. So we,
And he's going to be down here
yeah.
for
For
February
the-
20, well,
Yeah,
I
when is
haven't,
he
it's
coming?
been announced, but he usually comes for the
Friday.
gala for February 27th.
Right. And I'd like to, if I don't speak to him before that, I hope to be able to talk to him at that time, but I'd like to really have, depending on how the meeting goes in February, I'm probably going to ask for a formal meeting with him to talk about this, because I'm as the chair of the Western Counties Regional Library, because we can't take hits. I mean, like, one of the things that really bothers me about the whole funding formula process is they said that there's no new government money, but libraries provide or can provide services that for other government departments that they may not currently do now. And that could be for health information, or it could be for tourism information. It could be for immigration services. So there could be monies coming from other departments to help offset the hit. So, and I don't feel that they flushed that out enough. So that's the direction I'd like to see them look at. And even look at federal dollars, especially through the immigration stream. They're going to put millions and millions of dollars into immigration for the refugees, and I think libraries can provide an essential service to help the refugees in the communities, especially with language training and providing resources. So I think there's got to be a way that we could, access dollars that way.
Excellent. The next is you, Jim. Western Regional Enterprise Network Liaison and Oversight Committee.
Okay. We did have a meeting just recently. Get the date up here. We met on the 15th of January. I've given Pat the minutes to put online for everybody from the last meeting. And at this meeting here, got my notes here. The meeting was basically to talk about the upcoming budget for the REN, and to be assured that that the dollars would stay the same, like for the funding level is what we put in the last time. There was discussion on Rhonda from the province had suggested, or not suggested, has stated that there's going to be a new business plan coming forward from the Department of Business, and possibly that there will come down, there's an export agenda to it, and they'll come down and do a joint meeting with the L&O board and the board of directors for the REN to educate us on it and let us know what they're proposing. Also, discussion took place on reaching out to Acadia First Nation, Bear River First Nations, and Barrington and Clarks Harbour to see if there was an interest on any of their parts to be part of the REN. Clarks Harbour and Barrington opted out when we put it together. That's not to say that they could never come back in. So we're going to reach out to them. In saying that, if the more people at the table, then our costs go down too, because it's based on funding formula. So Pam Mood, who's the chair of the REN, and myself as the vice chair, we're going to be setting up meetings with Acadia First Nations and Bear River First Nations to talk to them about the benefits of being part of the REN.
This is the Oversight Committee.
The Oversight Committee.
Okay. Just want to make sure I got that straight.
Yeah. So we're going to talk to them about that. Yeah, the board, they do the operations, but the L&O committee is going to be looking at, whether or not we bring new or have new members come to the table. Did I miss anything, Linda?
I don't think so. They talked about reporting and that the CAOs, and I think it's included in the package, CAO is going to present reports, monthly reports.
Okay, the next is the Weymouth Doctor Recruiting Committee, Warden Gregory, Councilor Manzer. We have had a few meetings. We are working with our recruiter to have a doctor for Weymouth. We also met with the Nova Scotia Health Southwest Area Committee, who were telling us what they felt new doctors needed to look at. From there, just to let you know, last weekend we had a doctor come in to look at the area. She was pleased with a home she looked at. She likes the idea of it being turnkey for
Weymouth.
For Weymouth.
Weymouth Clinic.
For the Weymouth Clinic. She did not, she was looking at another place as well, so I
No
mean.
indication.
There's no indication. She was very, did not read, but she seemed pleased in the sense of the things she saw. She saw the Digby ER, she saw their medical center, she
What did
saw
she think
ours.
about doing time at the ER, like a day a week, or is she
That-
open to that?
She's open.
She's
to that.
open, but that would be her call.
Yeah.
We met her. Linda went on the tour with them for the hospital. I was in Halifax at a UNSM meeting, and then I met her that evening for supper, and I had set up the tour, and then David and them had worked it together.
She went to Weymouth to the clinic?
Yes, and she stayed at the Goodman Hotel,
Oh,
or
good.
it's hotel?
Yeah.
This place right in the middle of town?
And she had a meeting with Dr.
Yeah,
Westby as well.
Okay.
Yes, Dr. Westby teased her, and she got the opportunity to talk to Dr. Ron and Dr. Black. And she also has the opportunity, and I don't know if she did, to talk with Dr. Harding.
Did she get a chance to talk to Dr. Westby?
Oh, yeah, they
know
met for
about the
breakfast
area?
one morning.
Yeah.
The only day she was there, they met for
Yeah.
breakfast and spent a lot of time together talking. And then he said a few things at the supper. He sat beside her and said, remember if there's anything. And it would be a new practice. She's not going to take over Dr. Westby's practice if she came. It will be her practice.
Well, yeah.
Well, no. Some people think they'll automatically say, I was Dr. Westby, so now she's mine. No, it's not going to be that way. If she came, it would be her practice, and then people would, again, however way she saw fit. It wouldn't be us saying, well, it's Linda Gregory and Jeff and Linda, and, it's through her. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? I'll tell you, she was nice and young looking and
Really?
very nice, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Glad to hear she was attractive.
Oh, I bet you, if she's as smart as she was attractive, we'll be doing good.
Right on.
No, she seemed really bright and,
I'm as smart as I am attractive.
No.
Doesn't always work.
No. But I did not, I just meant,
Right.
when I'm saying she's attractive, she looked slim and trim and that type of thing, in good health. Yeah, maybe that's the better word to use.
You better stop talking.
Oh, shut up. Okay. Is there anything you wanted to add,
No,
Linda?
no, that was good.
Okay. We were pleased, and we did not want to overwhelm her, so not all the committee got to go meet her or anything. We kept it very simple. And Mr. Nurse was much younger than what I thought.
Yeah.
And I didn't dare ask him, but maybe you know the answer to this. Is his wife Dr. Nurse? Or is she Dr.
I don't know if she kept her original name or not.
I wanted to ask him so bad, but I thought, shut up, Linda, don't even go there. But I know she's a doctor.
She's a doctor. Yeah.
And I didn't know if she went with Dr. Mont or Dr. Nurse. Which I thought was
She might have considered not taking it.
She probably kept her maiden name.
probably. The next is council district reports, and we will start with you, David.
All right. Westport's been working on getting the different businesses working together in a Destination Briar Island idea, and I've been assisting them in a minor way on possible funding. But of course, we all know what happened with the Department of Tourism, so we're still waiting. Christmas, I collected a few $100s in gifts and distributed them within the community. As I mentioned earlier, trying to come up with a plan for those places that the business case is marginal for internet. I'm working on that a little bit. A couple of options. 2 fundraising dinners. One for a person with cancer, another one that's has burnt down. Few calls from people that need medication, food, lodging. I'd like to say a big thanks to the Women's Institute. They sort of take over the Christmas, to a large degree, the Christmas food bank, because they always did one at Christmas. And so once I started out, every Christmas they're very helpful. We sort of throw all of our stuff together and I'll drop some off, and we make a big list, and they're very nice. Helping in regards to some deaths in the community. There was a few deaths in the community, and I got phone calls requesting various things, and always very sad, but it's good. to help, and I really appreciate people calling me when things aren't good. I seem to usually often get calls when things aren't going well, and that's the kind of counselor I like to be, I guess. The Ferry Approaches project, I thought went through a bit of a milestone with the council. They're going to be putting together they already have a presentation that essentially was what we asked for, that we gave to the province. And Dan will be helping them a little bit with it, and they'll be coming back to council. So it's nice to see that, especially the volunteers and the hundreds of hours they've put in, and all the different community groups all working together. I really liked it. And trying to figure out a way forward for the Tiverton Fire Department in regards to their building rather than their gear. So I think that's much of the stuff anyway. And they're getting lots of calls about people on the net, more than I used to. So that's very good. They're starting to call me and stop me in the street and give me things to do. So I'm all up for that. Awesome. That's everything. Thank you.
Okay. George?
I guess middle of November, we did I attended the Parade of Lights in Weymouth, which was another big event or success this year. Then the pancake breakfast at the Historical Society at the end of the month, and the Tideview Terrace resident dinner, middle of December, the levee here the 1st of January, and I guess that's about it. And a few doctor recruitment meetings thrown in there.
Maritza?
I'm not going to say anything about district activities, because you'll probably mention some of them, but I do want to remind you that the public meeting for the School Options Committee is being held this Wednesday at the elementary school at 6:30. And just to remind you that all 6 schools in Digby County are under review, so if you think it's not going to affect your area, you might want to come and listen to some of the options that are being put forward, which will probably affect all schools.
Which 6 schools, Maritza?
Pardon?
When you're saying all 6 schools?
The 6 schools in Digby County are up for review.
The high school too?
Yep, all of them.
Okay. I
Yeah,
didn't-
no, but only 2 are recommended for closure. But if it can have a domino effect, it could have different things happening, so you might want to come. There's 2 more public meetings as well.
I'm
after
at
this one.
King's Transit.
You can't make it because somebody requests me to ask her specifically to come. So I'll give your regrets.
Or I'll ask Maritza as the chair just to say that I had to attend another meeting in Kensal.
I can. I'm just to let you know that I'm not in charge of that meeting. It's Wayne, but I will ask him to speak. Yep.
Just because where I was asked to attend.
Facilitator is the one who runs the public meetings, so that the School Options Committee isn't sort of.
Terrorized by everyone who's
I didn't want to say that, but yeah, you know how it can be. They're all going to be very passionate, so.
Is he going to be shutting people down though?
This Wednesday, 27th, yeah.
Shut down.
6:30 at Digby Elementary.
That's not the word you use.
Digby
He
on.
facilitates.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else? Okay. Deputy Warden?
I stated earlier, I attended a session in Wolfville pertaining to the RENs, and it was driven by the province, and they wanted to bring people in to talk about how the RENs are working in the province and how they see them going forward. Our REN is it is one of the few that's actually operational. I think we were the first off the ground as far as getting everything up and going. So some regions still don't have RENs.
Kings was ahead of us.
No, we passed them.
Oh, good.
So yeah, we've moved right along, and there are others up and going around the province now, but there are still some places that are struggling on getting the units together to cooperate. On the 11th of December, I attended a PBSE all-staff event in Halifax. It's a really good event where they bring their staff in. It's kind of a recognition, and they have different awards for their different staff members, so I thought that was great. I attended a land bid steering committee meeting. The PBSE has put a bid in for the land registry, as the province has put up 3 different registries that they're trying to possibly privatize. They're not sure yet, but they've asked for expression of interest. So the PBSE has put an expression in for the land piece, because it fits in with what the assessment does. And they rely on the land piece very heavily for the data, so it would be a good fit. I attended the levy here on January 1st. I thought it was great to see the number of people that showed up to it. And Mirtha, I want to congratulate you on putting on another successful levy. You did a great job. And on the 7th of January, I took part in the UNSM conference call, and that was prior to the rollout of the assessment. And some places in the province, and I think we're probably going to be, if we're not there, we're close to it, like where your assessed value of your properties are starting to decrease, and that your properties could become the cap could be low, could be higher than the actual market value of your property, but your tax bill will relate on whichever the lower of the two is. So that's what that conference call was all about. And I just want to mention that there's going to be a fundraiser in Bear River this Friday for Syrian families, and it's going to be at the fire hall at 7 o'clock. And also, I'm setting up a meeting with Larry Knox, the chair of the Board of Trade in Bear River. I had an email from yesterday, and we're going to get together to talk about the sidewalks in Bear River, and also what I've continued to bring up to DOT about the safety of the intersection with the, where I've been trying to get them to fix that problem for safety reasons, and Larry and I will have another chance to talk about that, because this has been going on for a number of years. But down in the inner core area, he said there's issues there with sidewalks and where people can walk and everything, so I'm going to go to Bear River and look at the area with them, and then I'll come back and report to council at a later date. That's it.
So,
So
this fundraiser, is it that they are going to sponsor Syrian Family, or is there already
I
here?
think it possibly is the church groups in Bear River, maybe.
They are going
That
to.
other
Yeah, they're
group,
going to.
that was the Bear River
It's the
group.
third group, a bunch of
Yeah.
churches is there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I just wondered.
okay. With me, I wanted to say that what I really liked about our New Year's levy this year was Colin Fraser came for the whole levy. He arrived shortly after and stayed to the end. He was going to all, but I think he stayed at ours. It must have been the longest, because he was saying how he had been to so many. People had the opportunity to talk to him and ask some questions, which was good. I do want to say that during this period, I did take 10 days and went with my daughter to Tennessee, and we had a wonderful time. Though I still kept getting calls, it didn't matter. She was sort of annoyed sometimes we'd be in the waiting line, and I'd be on the phone to somebody. That's all right. I was very excited about our doctor coming to look. That made my day. And meeting with her was really nice. I also had my first UNSM board meeting, and I will say that we talked about accessibility legislation. The province is aiming to introduce legislation in the fall that will establish the framework for developing standards and regulations around accessibility. Both the province and municipalities, as well as others, will be impacted by the legislation. As UNM has been pushing for involvement in the development of regulations prior to them being announced, the UNSM board agreed to develop and implement an education and awareness plan on the intended legislation aimed at municipalities, of course. Develop and implement an engagement strategy allowing municipalities to provide advice on how the outcomes of the intended legislation can be achieved in the municipal sector. UNSM will be issuing a call for an elected member from each of the caucuses to serve on the committee. We had a discussion on caucus structure. The board discussed this issue as the impact of recent dissolutions is changing the way municipalities view themselves, and there continues to be concerns raised by some of our members. Staff are preparing a report for the next meeting. The CAP update. The CAP has been in place for 10 years, and it's hurting those who are buying homes. The province does not see the CAP as a priority, so UNSM, PVSC, and AMA will be developing a strategy for our next board meeting. There's a fire services study. The province has undertaken a review of fire services from their perspective, but municipalities have not. The province is providing funding for UNSM and AMA to hire a consultant to meet with municipalities to identify fire issues and opportunities and make some recommendations on fire services. Staff are finalizing the terms of reference. Advocacy, the UNSM will be writing the provincial and federal ministers of finance regarding municipal priorities and concerns. Appointment, Warden Aldrich D'Entremont, District of Argyll, and Councillor Eldon McDonald, CVRM, were appointed to the Active Transportation Committee. The UNSM events, which will be coming up in detail. February 19th, there's going to be a workshop on climate change in Dartmouth. April 14th, a workshop on forestry matters. April 14th and 15th, CAO and CEO Forum, Linda. So you know, I've already marked it in. May 4th, workshop on municipal structure changes at the Old Orchard Inn, and then later that night will be the UNSM Spring Workshop. Caucus and regional meetings are being planned from the 4th to the 6th. And that's my highlights. What I will do, I will be sending these to Pat to put up on our web so that you all see them. And I probably won't be as good as what Jimmy was on them, but I will try. It was an interesting meeting. Everyone has their say, which I liked, and just the differences of seeing, I can't explain it.
The dynamics in the room?
Yes, that's the word. Thank you.
You like the words up.
How many people are sitting around the table?
It's full.
It's full, so it was 12 at least.
There's at least that many. Just to clarify too, I was at that meeting because I did a presentation to them from the PVSC in regards to the cap. And it was ironic because when I was on the UNSM board, the UNSM had actually did a presentation to the PVSC back in 2006 about the cap. And I had the report with me. And so this has been an issue we've been talking about since 2004. And back in 2010, I should say, is when the report actually went to the PVSC. And the biggest part with the cap is to educate people on what the impacts are, because the cap's not working, and we've known that for a long time. It's not going to work, and the data's there to prove it and to back it up. But it's a matter of educating the councillors so they understand it and understand what the impacts are, but also and then educate the public. And until that happens, it's going to be hard to get the province or any provincial MLA to be very supportive until they can see that the public are educated on it and have a better understanding of what the impacts are. Because it's proven fact that the homes now that are higher assessed value, nicer homes, they're getting the best benefit out of the cap process.
The opposite of what's intended.
Well, the people living in more modest homes are paying more than
Subsidize the wealthy.
Well, that's exactly what's happening, and the safeguards aren't there to help the people that the whole intent has gone out the window. Like, I'm not blaming anybody. It's just the way it was set up.
Fear of voters has a lot to do with
Pardon
now
me?
that we're stuck in it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, but the cap, the perception is the cap saves you money. The cap saves about half the people that are cap money. The other half are paying more. And until that message gets out there really clear, and that's, I believe that'll be the next step. So anyway, I'm glad to see that there's actually dialogue going on right now regarding the cap, because to me, it's never been about the municipality ever getting any more money. It's revenue neutral. It should be no extra money for municipalities. What it means is it's fairness to the taxpayer, and that's what it boils down to. Anyway, sorry about that, but
Oh, that's okay.
I'm
Now,
quite-
the next thing I wanted to let you know is that Councillor Dethridge is unwell, and she will not, for the next while, being able to be president. So
Say that again. The last sentence. Sorry.
she will not be the president right now.
Okay.
She's
Excuse me.
off. and to allow her necessary time to recover. The following intent of the UNSM bylaws, that this year's president be from the regional caucus. The board has appointed Mayor Cecil Clark to serve as president. This appointment is fully endorsed by the CBRM Council and is effective immediately until Claire can assume her duties. Deputy Warden Fraser Patterson, County of Victoria, was elected by the Rural Caucus to serve as one of his reps on the board. The UNSM is appreciative of Mayor Clark and Deputy Warden Patterson's willingness to serve. So I want to let everyone know that. The other thing is, there is an aquaculture conference coming up that I will be attending on Thursday and Friday
Whereabouts?
in Halifax. And I will be attending, not on council, Robbie Burns' dinner.
So I'm going to be attending as well. I bought a ticket.
Okay. Well, then we'll see you both there. Me and you. See you there. No, it doesn't matter. Now, is anyone got anything else they'd like to? Yes, George.
Question about, I see Dr. Bander is going to be doing 2 days every other week in Ray River? Or is it Dr. Bander?
No, Dr. Harding.
Harding.
Dr. Harding is doing
2
every,
days, every other week.
every other week, Thursday and Friday.
Oh, that's awful.
So does he have to have approval from the health authority to do that, or?
Oh.
I am not privy to that. I would not be able to answer you that.
But it looks like he can just announce he's moving in and.
George, talk to me.
Okay. And
But
that's all, I was
that-
just wondering what the.
Well,
what
he's been
the-
in and out of there, so I don't know how.
I know, he's been in and out, but, you know,
I
there hasn't been
don't-
anything there for a while, so all
I
of a
mean-
sudden he just decides to come in, he's allowed to do that, let's just wondering if.
I can't answer that,
Okay,
George.
that's fine.
I'm glad he's serving a need.
Oh, I'm glad
because
he's there and he can move
already
in and do
now-
that too, that's great.
I had a person tell me that they called for an appointment. Their appointment was the middle of March already.
Yeah, at least he's, you know, he's serving the community, that's great.
75% of the people that have called are from Weymouth. Dr. Westby's patients. Just let you know.
What's going on? Where'd they come from? A whole bunch of people must have moved in the last couple of weeks.
75 or 80.
What's
Just a
going
few,
on?
just a few.
But
Tsunami of humanity.
I really
Yeah.
can't.
No,
I'm not
that's-
privy to that type of thing. Is there anything else? If not, would someone like to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Is there a seconder? Oh,
You're gonna
I
have-
forgot. How dare I forget this? Before we adjourn the meeting, does our lonely reporter,
I thought intrepid.
I've been accused of that a couple times, and I'm not lonely.
well, you look in this room, there's only you, yourself, and you.
I get lonely.
Intrepid.
I might be a psychopath, but I don't understand it.
Okay.
And, now, who will be the person that I would talk to about the 800 kilowatt turbine?
Chair.
You can talk to Terry or myself.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much. Anyway, wow.
You can send me.
Very glad I came.
Oh, good. Jimmy.
I'd like to ask Jonathan a question. What, with the change in the paper, what's the impact going to be for you and the way things are reported and everything?
Well, did you read my column? No. I don't think it's going to. I put one online, but it'll be in the paper. It comes out on February 2nd, which will be our first paper. It's not going to impact us very much, except that
But
I've heard from a lot of people, a lot of constituents about the name. It's going to bother a lot of people. Why the Vanguard? But I understand why they did that.
Because that's where the people.
Well,
No, but it shouldn't be. It should be a no new name.
I felt personally they were going to start out with a new paper. They should have tried to chosen a neutral name.
I think there's some, and this is me speculating, that it's more a case of just the words they use in different meetings, that it's more a case of we're being merged into the Vanguard. But it'll be, my job's not going to change, so everything that I write will still be online, and it'll still be, they're making, I've seen in the meetings, big efforts to make sure that we're included and feel that we're getting, so we've already had our story meeting February 2nd. They're making a point of that cover should be either Shelburne or Digby, just so that
Starts
people
off.
don't think it's Yarmouth.
Right.
And the plan is to have weekly story meetings and constant communication communication, and John will be doing a great deal of the layout. The Yarmouth editor will be doing assignments like, you do this, you do that.
Okay. What about like the pieces like Dawn puts in there, like in senior safety, are they still going to be in the paper?
The columns are trickier, and those are still being talked about, just how that comes down.
Yeah.
There's less space, right, for some of those, even for events, we're going to have to change that. The Yarmouth events themselves are a page and a half.
Yeah.
We're just going to have a page and a half for all three, so we're going to split it three ways. Everything will be online, but there'll be less. And so we're still working on which columns will continue to appear. It's not certain. I personally like Don's column. And I'd like to
Well,
see
yeah.
it.
You get rid of the Eastern Passage one then.
I think at the very least, it could rotate, because there are another 3 or 4 safety coordinators, senior safety coordinators.
But,
So
yeah.
they could rotate if she didn't want to. But I think her column does a good job of representing general interest.
It does, yeah. Yeah, thanks.
And Christie's is always good too.
Yeah.
And the
So,
dark side.
I will repeat again, I don't like the name. I think it should be a total different name. And I hope that they're smart enough that they don't keep cutting back by anything else and saying that they're not cutting. Anyway,
Well, hopefully people will like the big paper and buy it.
It's going to be bigger?
and better.
Well,
And more
it'll be
expensive.
Guaranteed 40 pages. So
Oh!
Yeah, so because there's going to be 3 times the number of people contributing, so we'll be able to afford a bigger paper. See, size of the paper's always been determined by how much advertisement is sold,
Uh-huh.
and they give us a ratio. So if you sold this much advertisement, you get this many pages.
Okay.
Now that there's 3 areas contributing to the advertising, then the amount of, the ratio, of course, is better for us. We'll have more room. But it won't be 40 pages of Digby News. But I think the readers here are interested in what's happening in Yarmouth. I mean, a lot of what you guys talk about is your meetings in Yarmouth, so school board, race check, so on.
Yeah, when I'm in Yarmouth, I do read the Vanguard.
I guess time will tell, right? In
Yeah, we'll see.
In a year's time, if there's,
The Courier will still exist online.
Yes, digbycourier.ca won't change.
Good.
But the paper will come out at the time. And there won't be sections, it won't be like the Digby section of Yarmouth. It'll be one,
It's all blended.
it'll be completely blended. So
Okay.
for our first edition, we're quite excited. It's going to be, I just put up a post today asking who can talk to me about Groundhog Day. And we've
About
already
what?
got lots of stuff. Groundhog Day Storm, sorry, because it's 40th anniversary this February 2nd.
I remember that so well.
Wow.
Maybe I'll have to talk to you. But
Carla,
we-
all
we
kinds of
figure
pictures on.
it's something that affected the whole area, so it's a great story to write and to celebrate together, not celebrate, but remember together.
Yeah. It can't be 40 years.
40 years! Oh
I
my
was
God,
at
I remember
work.
in elementary, they used
I
to
was
make
at
us
work
all
that
go
day.
to
I think we're
the
gonna
movie
have
they made.
4 or 5 page, we call it truck, that's like spread,
1976.
4 or 5 page spread. And then there's about the-
My crazy husband went down on the shore that day.
So I'll talk to
there's no water. you know.
I'll get to Culloden, I'll go to Freeport to talk to Larry Howell, is that right?
Freeport?
No,
Oh, Glenn Powell.
but his son, his father,
Yeah.
Leslie.
Yes, Leslie Powell. Not too long ago, we did like they invited the entire community. There must have been 100 people there to watch what.
There was a
what
book
occurred.
made too.
I was there.
I never got it. and I've always been sorry because I've never been able to find it.
We'll buy the edition of Courier,
People were looting, and she took a shotgun.
Thank you.
Terrorized
I will,
everybody.
I plan on buying the first one. Then I'll decide
stop.
about the second one.
Pregnant with a shotgun.
So, we had a motion
I wouldn't.
to adjourn. So all in order? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
Yeah.